Hi, my name is Lucinda Brody, and this is a social story I wrote for one of my clients who is 6 years old. His initials are MB, which is in the story. This individual has trouble being flexible. Say if a classmate wants to go to the slide and is finished swinging, this individual will insist that he stays on the swing, and he will scream and then kick anyone who tries to intervene. So this is the story of how Mr. Mighty defeats Mr. Mean. Mr. Mighty always says we need to be flexible with our friends, parents, and teachers. What is being flexible, you ask? Let me tell you. Being flexible is when we come to a situation where we must figure out the best choice. If we choose the not so good choice, we will turn into Mr. Mean. Mr. Mean is a person who is not flexible. He only wants to play with items that he wants. If a friend asks him to join in or to play something different, Mr. Mean will get upset, scream, and insist that they play with the toy he has. When MB is flexible, he turns into Mr. Mighty. This occurs when he shares a toy or follows a friend to get a new toy. Sometimes MB does not know how to be flexible. If he is not sure, then he can ask an adult or friend what he should do. MB has learned how to be more flexible. Let's watch MB be flexible and bring about Mr. Mighty. MB is waking up in the morning. His mom tells him to go brush his teeth before breakfast. MB begins to scream, but then he stops and says, I need to be Mr. Mighty today and be more flexible. Then MB goes to school where he swings with a classmate. The classmate stops swinging and moves on to the slide. MB wants his friend to keep swinging with him. He wants to scream, but instead he brings out Mr. Mighty and follows his friend down the slide. After school, MB has a teacher come over and work with him. MB begins to rip papers, scream, and kick the teacher. This makes the teacher feel sad. The teacher asks if she can speak with Mr. Mighty because Mr. Mean is sitting with her right now. MB thinks about his choices and agrees to let Mr. Mighty come to play. The teacher likes it when Mr. Mighty comes to play. They get all their work done early and have a lot of extra time to read books, go to the park, and eat before his brother gets home. The teacher reminds MB that he can either be Mr. Mean or Mr. Mighty. People like Mr. Mighty because he makes good choices. MB just needs to stop and think of his two choices. One of them will bring about Mr. Mean, and the other will bring about Mr. Mighty. That is my social story. Thanks.